Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Rachel with Dark Night Coaching. Today we're going to go over the heart chakra. So the heart chakra is usually symbolized on a diagram with the color green. It is located here in the center of your chest. It's not over actually where your heart is. It's more so in the center, and you'll sometimes hear that it's associated with the air element because your heart is very closely tied to your head space as well. So that's kind of the correlation there when it comes to our four main elements, which are earth, air, water, fire, and those are your lower chakras. The heart has memory just like the brain does. They are connected in ways that we're just now learning through a lot of scientific experiments. But basically, your heart, in order to be in a harmonic balance and to be open and functioning properly, has to have a very fine balance of yin and yang, which is your masculine and feminine energies, which all of us have masculine and feminine energies inside of us, no matter your gender. But the heart, especially, in order to burst open, has to have that fine balance there. So, yam is the sound that you can use if you're trying to help yourself have a heart opening type of experience. It's YAM, yam, if you're doing meditation or chanting. The problem that sometimes we get into with the heart space and having a blocked heart chakra, which most of us have throughout our experiences just due to childhood traumas, cultural systems, indoctrination, those sorts of things. The thing that we run into is maybe we have a problem being compassionate, we have a problem being self-loving, we have jealousy, there's codependency, things like that. If you're experiencing some of those things, which all of us do at some point in our lives, that is tied to your heart chakra. So if you feel like there's emotional turmoil, or you have this inability to love, or even having a hard time finding gratitude, that's tied to your heart chakra. So if you feel like you're in an imbalance, there are a couple of things you can do or start doing. It's a process to open your heart chakra. Sometimes it happens like instantaneously. For me and my heart chakra experience, my heart chakra burst open. It was due to music. So it was kind of a ultimate loving feeling that I had. I was actually driving in my car when my heart chakra burst open, and it was kind of it kind of hit me in the chest out of nowhere. I had no idea what was happening, what was going on, and it was because of the song that I was listening to. It just like triggered something in me that I had never felt before, and it was also because I was not in my logic-minded headspace. I was in my heart space, and I was leading with love instead of my logical mind, and that's kind of what burst my heart chakra open. So if you're jamming out to some really cool tune, sometimes that can be the trigger that just opens your heart space. And typically, if you've had a closed heart chakra, when you have an opening and it becomes unblocked, you can really feel that. And there's a couple people that I have met that have had their heart chakra open because of music. And it doesn't have to be like you're listening to music, it could be like you're playing the music and it bursts open. So, the thing you want to do if you're having problems with codependency, with jealousy, maybe you're more logic minded than you are so in your heart space, you can obviously start by establishing like healthy boundaries for yourself. You'll have to use discernment and figure out what that is for you. But the next key thing is an attitude of gratitude, which is just very important generally. But it's key that the gratitude that you're expressing isn't for material or like monetarily driven things. This is more so like, I'm grateful for the fresh air in my lungs today. I'm grateful that I have two, legs that get me where I need to go. I'm grateful for my drive. I'm grateful for my endurance. And that's also expressing like self-love and compassion, which we all need to have for ourselves. So if you can start there and just start building a habit of gratitude every day, um, you'll put yourself in a better spot and have more compassion for yourself. But the thing is with building habits is it usually takes 90 days to fully get into the routine of things. And it becomes at that point more so a lifestyle that you don't have to try to make yourself do. So if you can stick to, those sorts of things, even if it's meditation, if it's yoga, those things can help you get to a point where you're balancing your heart chakra as well, because you're balancing that gratitude, you're balancing self-love, you're balancing compassion. If you've, experienced jealousy, that's kind of a big red flag when it comes to the heart chakra as well, because jealousy is tied to envy. And, if you're familiar with the seven deadly sins, it's kind of like that. So it it's almost like your heart chakra is blocked if you're experiencing jealousy for anyone, really, because if you are in a state of gratitude, if your heart chakra is open, you're not really going to have that jealous bone in your body, because you're going to be happy for someone. You're going to be like, wow, what great luck they have. Wow, how happy am I for them? Like, they deserve good things. And if you're kind of feeling you're on the negative end of that, then I do think that there's probably an imbalance when it comes to your yin or your yang energy, which is your feminine or your masculine. And you probably have to do some inner work, some deep diving there for, mother wounds, father wounds, so some of that shadow work that's probably holding you back without even realizing it. So there are a couple things you can do when it comes to, jealousy or the codependency, or just, I don't know, maybe those guilty sort of feelings. Or if you feel like you're having a hard time relating to someone, or you're just feeling unable to connect, or unable to have like compassion for someone or their situation, and just overall lacking empathy, it's again starting with gratitude, but it's more so associated with forgiveness and understanding. So forgiveness can only be found through understanding, and although we are not, put in everyone's situation, we can't always walk through, the same shoes, the same path as everyone here. That's also part of forgiveness. It's understanding like everyone's on their own journey, everyone's on their own timeline. Usually seeing that people are mirrors or reflections of you in some facet or some way, it helps to kind of give you that empathy for that person and the compassion to know like, hey, they're not in the same space I am. It doesn't make them good or bad. It just makes them on a different path than me. However, that doesn't mean you have to give up your energy to spend time with them. That might just mean you need to have healthier boundaries for yourself, for your own energy. And everything is transactional in relationships because of energetic exchange. So every situation, every friendship, every even the smallest interaction is an energetic exchange essentially. So just be careful with your energy, because it is basically currency. And try to let your heart guide you so much, but also make sure that you're not overextending yourself and putting yourself in a precarious situation, or in a situation where you get taken advantage of, which is, it's hard to do that. It's a fine line. But again, that comes and ties in with the yin and the yang, where you have to balance your feminine and masculine energies and use discernment, and then also go with your gut and your intuition as well. So it's it's quite the juggling act if you're trying to get your heart chakra balanced. There are some crystals or gems or stones that you could use to help aid your opening, your heart chakra balancing. Sometimes people have an overly open heart, which is like they're super compassionate, they're super empathetic, and that almost leans into toxic empathy, which is real. That does happen, where it's like you give too much of yourself away and then you feel like so depleted because you're lacking healthy boundaries. But aventurine is a great crystal that can help. There's green calcite, there's jade, there's rose quartz, amazonite. Those are things that can help you just on your journey. There's also the visualization processes, which I've recommended this in all of the other chakra videos. It's just imagining a green light coming in through your crown chakra, which is the top of your head, and just encompassing your whole body and letting that green light fill your heart space and, get things churning in the right direction. So some of you might be visual learners, some of you might need something tangible. those are some ways. If you're more so into a tangible thing, like you need to do something to feel like you're making progress, there are some yoga poses you can do to help open your heart space. And it's poses like cobra or the camel pose or the fish pose, even. It's basically where your chest is super expanded, and that can help a lot. There's also like breathing forms of meditation, like hatha yoga. That's a very breathy type of yoga that could help you. Um, Wim Hof, I always recommend that, the breathing program. You don't even have to do like the ice bath portion, but just the breathing alone can help open your lungs and expand your heart space, your chest center. And always, I will never stop recommending Reiki. Reiki is literally energetic healing, and that is vital, I think, to have you have help from someone who is a healer, um, just so they can help you attune to yourself gradually. Like Reiki is a gradual process. It takes months and months before, sometimes before people can even feel their own energy centers to know if they're blocked or not. There's also some pendulum things you can do if you have a friend or somebody who can help you, and you can figure out which way your chakras are spinning. I've never done that personally yet, but that is one way to do to find out if your chakra is open or if it's blocked. And then what else? There's just a couple other things that you could use to feel like if you're in a clouded headspace, if you're wrapped up in your ego, then that usually symbolizes that there's a heart chakra imbalance as well. So if you feel like you're stuck in a rut, if you feel like you're just, I don't know, a little bit more so narcissistic leaning, like overwhelmed in your emotions, then I think that that's a big red flag as well, to just take a step back and practice, forgiveness, practice meditation. And forgiveness is a practice. So because it's basically understanding, and that cannot be, sometimes understanding can't be taught until we're thrown into a situation where we experience, walking in someone else's shoes. And that's basically the lesson of humility. So if you feel like life has humbled you, which if you're watching this video and you're going through a dark night of the soul, you're probably there. So welcome. We all will have some of those experiences in our lifetime because it's tied to our karma. And our heart knows things before our head knows things. This is a scientifically proven thing as well, that the heart can tell things before the brain knows it. So it's almost like your heart is your forecaster or future predictor of how things are going to go. So that's why when people say lead with your heart, it's because your heart knows best, essentially. But yeah, that's what I have for you today when it comes to heart chakra. Hopefully, this helped. If it did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And I will see you at the next video when I go over your throat chakra.